بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وهدى وتقى ورشادا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع من دعوة لا يستجاب لها. نعوذ بك اللهم من هؤلاء الأربع. أما بعد، حياكم الله جميعا في الدرس 24 في شرح مختصر النحو المفيد للمبتدئ فيه والمعيد. و لا بأس أخي أبا بكر، بارك الله فيك. كنا وقفنا عند فاء السببية. كنا قد وقفنا عند فاء السببية في الدرس الماضي. طبعا before we start الدرس يعني there is some news I wanted to share with you. الشيخ صالح العصيمي was conducting an intensive course in Masjid al-Nabawi in which he was explaining أعلام السنة المنشورة. طبعا we studied أعلام السنة المنشورة recently in عقيدة, and we did like it was more of an abridgment of the أعلام السنة المنشورة. We did not cover the whole book, in the sense that we used to skip some questions. We used to combine some questions and do them and make them into one question, etc. So we did a bit of it was to some extent it was abridged in some parts of it. Sheikh Saleh al-Husaymi is covering the whole book in the Masjid al-Nabawi, and luckily alhamdulillah the durus are being transmitted live, alhamdulillah, a video on YouTube. So inshallah I can share the link with all of you, and you can, in your free time, when you have time, because it's a book that you have already studied, you have already been through, or most of its concepts, alhamdulillah, clear to you. So you will benefit a lot in two ways. It will be a consolidation for what you have learned previously, and in addition to it, it will improve your Arabic listening, in particular because you will be familiar with the masail already. You will be familiar with many of the words that are being used in the book and that are being said. So it will be a very much of a plus and advantages for all of us to listen to it. I am myself following it. I plan to inshallah catch up with the durus. I was just lagged behind a little bit. Today is the third day. He started on Friday Fajr, and he usually teaches for an hour and a half after Fajr. Today was just 1 hour, I guess. Then after Asr, then Maghrib, then Isha, 4 sessions a day. So you can just while you are commuting mathalan, or you can just put it on your phone, or in your car, or mathalan wherever you are, or in your free time, and inshallah it will serve as a very beneficial dars for you باذن ta'ala. Sheikh is conducting this aura for 8 days, from one Friday to another Friday. That means in total there will be 32 sessions. So today is the third day, it's Sunday. Yeah, so right now after Maghrib, he's conducting the 11th session. So inshallah, you can catch up as well if you'd like to end with the Sheikh. It's better that you also, compress the listening of the durus in a short time, so that you don't take too long to finish the book. بإذن الله تعالى. طيب نعود إلى ما كنا فيه. Let's come back to where we were, and we were talking about فاء السببية. بارك الله فيكم. فاء السببية, we said that it's relatively difficult, but generally speaking, فاء السببية is the fa before which is the sabab, and after which is the natijah. Natijah. The cause is mentioned before it, the consequence is mentioned after the fa. So the fa, this actually explains the consequence of something. So مثلا here, لا تشرب ماء باردا فتمرض. So tamrad, falling sick, is a consequence of drinking cold water. You see, so this is fa as-sababiyya, because what was before it was the sabab of what is after it. And fa as-sababiyya causes the fi'l to become fi'l mudari', to become mansoob, if it is preceded by one of two, by nafi or by talab. And when we say talab includes 8 things. we mentioned. And for now, you don't need to memorize all the 8. Yani you can memorize it in just as a concept, but focus on a few. Focus on amr, focus on nahi, focus on dua, focus on مثلا istifham, and taraji mostly, but that's it. They don't focus on all of the 8. Okay, and there is a way, there is a two verses of share which help us memorize all the 8, and those verses of share are as follows. I'll write it and type it is better, so it'll be more clear, inshallah. The first verse goes as follows. مر وانهى وادع وسل واعرض لحظهم تمنى وارجو كذاك النفي قد كمل. مر وانهى وادع وسل واعرض لحظهم تمنى وارجو كذاك النفي قد كمل. طيب, this bait share includes the 8 things that all come under the category of talab, and also it contains the nafi as well. So all the 9 factors that السببية, if it is preceded with by, it causes the fi'l mudari' to become mansub. All of them are mentioned in these 2 lines and verses of poetry. As for the affirmative sentence that is not preceded by any nafi nor any talab, then the fa will not cause nasb. The fa will not cause nasb. طيب. Now the 8 things that we discussed the other day, amr, nahi, dua, istifham, ard, tahdid, tamanni, taraji, and the 9th one, that is nafi. I want you to find them in these 2 lines of poetry. So where is the amr, or what word in these 2 verses represents amr?
Would that be the first one, mur?
Absolutely, the first one, mur. And mur is actually a fi'l amr from amara ya'muru. Yani mur means to command. Yani as if you're ordering someone to command. Yani command him, mur. Mur yani command. Yani give a command. That's what mur means. Okay. Where is an-nahi?
Wanha.
Wanha, ahsant. And wanha again is a fi'l amr from naha yanha. Naha yanha means to prohibit and forbid, and wanha means you're commanding someone to forbid. As if masalan you're saying to your son that inha waladaka an hadha, yani tell your son, yani you're telling your son to tell the grandson not to do this, and inhahu, you're commanding him to forbid and prohibit his son from doing something. Yani this is just an example. So it's a fi'l amr from inha. From naha yanha. طيب, mur wanha. Where is dua? And then later I'll ask the meaning of dua. Where is dua first of all?
Wad'u.
Wad'u, mumtaz. And what is the meaning of dua?
You mean like a literal meaning, is it?
No. In this context, yani when we say yani amr, nahi, and dua, طيب in Nahw, like what is dua? Or why do we have to make a different category for dua when we have amr, nahi?
So dua would be, a request from somebody who is higher in status to you than amr would be somebody who's below you.
Ahsant, yani the opposite of what you're saying. Yani amr is from a higher person from that is in a higher position and status, he gives it to someone who is below him. And dua is done to someone who is above you. Yani you are the one, when you are asking and you are commanding someone above you, that's a dua. And why did we have to make this categorization? Yani, what was the need for it? Because yani, mostly it was because of adab with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it doesn't befit that we say that I am commanding Allah to give me tawfiq. Ma'adallah, who are you? Yani you are making dua, you're requesting, you are making a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that yani he grants you your request. So we made this category that is actually a fara, yani subtype of amr and nahi. Dua is a subtype of amr and nahi. So yani nahi as well will come under the heading of dua if it is done to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in general. واضح يا إخوان? So it's amr and nahi itself. Dua is amr and nahi. We just made it a new category in order to just avoid this bad negative connotation that we have when we say that you're doing it to, and you're commanding Allah or you're prohibiting Allah from doing this, ma'adallah. Okay, where is istifham, ya shabab?
If I were to guess, would that be wasal, like asking?
أحسنت. Sal is fi'l amr from sa'ala yas'alu. Sal means you're commanding someone to ask. Mumtaz. So in shi'r, generally when you want to mention different types, you can, sometimes you mention fi'l amr, sometimes you just play around with words somehow to fit them into the baytain, so that you can code them into these like two verses and you're able to memorize them. Just like in tajweed, we come up with a lot of things that don't make any sense. You say the letters of qalqala are قطب جد. What is the meaning of قطب جد? لا معنى. قطب جد, the pillar of Jad, the pillar of the grandfather, what's that? On the other hand, sometimes you say the letters of tafkhim in تجويد are خص ضغط القذ. خص ضغط القذ, إيش هذا؟ هذا ما هو عربي. This is maybe the language of the jinn. But you come up with things. That's why in shi'r, the sha'ir is using fi'l amr, and he does not really mean and intend to tell us to do all of these things. What he intends here is to just somehow put these 8-9 different types of asalib into 2 lines of poetry, and that you're able to memorize it. Like, where is ard? Where is ard? أين العرض؟ نعم. واعرض. أحسنت. واعرض لحظهم. Where is تحضيض؟
لحظهم.
أحسنت. Very good. Okay, ممتاز. Can I ask what is the meaning of عرض and تحضيض?
I was going to ask you actually.
لا بأس. عرض يا أخي بارك الله فيكم. We just quickly mentioned it in the last class. That's why perhaps many of us missed out on it. عرض is when you make a gentle, polite request. That is عرض. It's like an amr, but it's not in the sigha of amr. You don't really use the sigha of amr. You're actually making a request, but very politely. Like when we say in English, if you come and visit us, it will be great. What does this mean? This means, please come and visit us. Right or wrong, when you say to someone, if you come and visit us, we'll be honored. What does that mean? Please come and visit us and honor us. صحيح ولا ما صحيح?
Yeah, that's right.
طيب, إذن يا إخوان, عرض, what sort of أسلوب do you use, or what are the words that you use with عرض? مثلا, with عرض you can use لو مثلا لو حفظت المنظومة. Now لو حفظت المنظومة, it would literally translate if you memorize the poem. Yani, what does this mean? If you memorize the poem, yani, please memorize the poem. It's a request. Nicely saying it to someone. This is art. This is art. Gentle, polite request. حظ or تحضيض, which we mentioned the last time around, that is an intensive and superlative degree of a request and amr. Yani, but it's not with the sigha. You don't usually use fi'l amr. With amr, you use fi'l amr, right? With nahi, you use la nahiya. With dua, the same. You use either amr or la nahiya. But with tahdid, it's an intensive form of a command and request, but it's not, you don't really use fi'l amr. What do you use with tahdid? You use halla. Use a word called halla. So like the Prophet ﷺ, as you mentioned the last verse as well, when Osama bin Zayd had killed someone, despite him having said La ilaha illallah, Osama bin Zayd said that he said it out of fear. He didn't say it from his heart. So the Prophet ﷺ said, يعني هلا شققت عن قلبه هلا شققت عن قلبه. يعني why didn't you just cut his heart open and look into it? يعني this was rhetorically said to him, but يعني هلا here mentioned is in the form of an intensive and emphatic command. يعني if you really want to kill someone despite having said La ilaha illallah, then cut his heart open and look into it, whether he's saying it from his heart or not. And it's supposed to be a condemnation of the fi'l of Usama. So halla. So here with ard, you usually use law, and with tahdid, use halla. And this is a very intensive and emphatic yani, form of command and request. This is tahdid. Inshallah, this is clear. I really know, I know that right now you will not be able to use this usloob in your everyday Arabic usage, but at least if you understand it, inshallah, you can progress with that. So is it understandable, or does it need more any explanation? Ard and tahdid.
So just quickly, I mean, عرض and تحضيض, both of them, they don't have the فعل أمر after it. It's just indicated by the usage of law and halla.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. The fi'l amr will not be used with it. It's indicated, this meaning of amr, this intention of command is indicated by these words that you use along with it, halla or law. Absolutely right. So inshallah, clear, ya shabab?
Yeah, it's clear for me.
والآخرون ساكتون، فالسكوت إما يعني الفهم التام وإما يعني عدم الفهم بالكلية. Our Sheikh used to say, يعني two people that don't ask questions. Someone who has understood and grasped the dars, mashallah, يعني fully, and someone who hasn't understood anything. So يعني نرجو أن تكونوا من الأول يعني إن شاء الله. يعني all of you are from the first time instead of the second one. الحمد لله. طيب وين التمني؟ بارك الله فيكم.
تمنى.
أحسن، تمنى. طبعا يا أخي علي, brother Abu Bakr is driving right now, that's why he's not participating. So you don't يعني إن شاء الله lose your hope. يعني you'll have support soon إن شاء الله. يعني you two ما شاء الله are always the ones who are يعني supporting the dars. جزاكم الله خير with your contribution and participation. تمنى. طب this is where تمني is. And تمني, what's the meaning of تمني يا إخوان?
It's to wish.
Wish. أحسنتم. And what is the word that you usually use for wish? يعني
is it later?
Later, absolutely. Later is the word that we use to express that we wish for something, etc. طيب. Where is الرجاء? الرجاء.
ورجو.
ورجو. أحسنتم. This is الرجاء. And what is the meaning of رجاء?
To hope.
To hope. أحسنتم. طيب إذن, and what's the word that we use to express رجاء and يعني to do رجاء?
Would it be لعل?
لعل أحسنتم. It's لعل, the word that is mostly used with raja. So always associate with tamanni later and with raja لعل. And this is the first thing that should come to your mind whenever tamanni is mentioned. The first word that should come to mind is later. And whenever raja is mentioned to you, the first word that should come to your mind is لعل. لعل. واضح يا اخوان؟ تمني later والرجاء لعل. طيب. And finally, nafi is right here in front of us, and that is the nafi, that's the ninth. So nafi is the ninth one. And the talab, we have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8. So this is the talab. This is all that comes under talab. طيب. What should we focus on right now? Focus on maybe on amr. Focus on يلا استفهام, أمر نهي استفهام. Focus on these. عرض تحضيض, very seldom are they used. You can يعني ignore them for now. تمني, ترجي, فا سببية, with them. It is there in the Quran, but general usage of it is less and very seldom. So maybe for now you can يعني just ignore it. So the ones that I would like you all to focus on is amr, nahi, istifham. طبعا dua comes with amr, nahi, and nafi. Nafi is very important. These 4. Focus on these 4. So when these 4 occur, مثلا, and then fa occurs, then you will notice that the fa will cause the fi'l after it to become mansub. And one example of nafi that we did the last time around was the ayah لا يقضى عليهم لا يقضى عليهم فيموتوا لا يقضى عليهم فيموتوا. So يا إخوان يعني فا السببية is it working here or is it not working here? Is it causing the fi'l mudari to become mansub or not?
Yes, it is causing it.
أحسنتم. طيب. If it is يعني working and it's causing the nasb, then it must be preceded by one of these 9 things that we mentioned. Which one of the 9 things is it being preceded by? And by the way, لا يقضى عليهم فيموتوا means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not يعني finish them so that they die. يعني they will not be finished. قضى عليه, to finish something and يعني get rid of it. So which of the 9 things is the fa as-sababiyya being preceded by? Is there an amr here? Is there a nahi here? Is there a tamanni, is there a istifham here? Or is there a nafi here?
This would be nafi.
Nafi, absolutely, because Allah is negating. There's no nahi here. Allah is not prohibiting. He's negating the fact that they will not be finished. They will not be yani, done away with so that they die. Rather, they will be brought back to life again and again and again. And this also goes on to show that the Jahannam will last forever. The Jahannam will last forever. This is a mashhur, famous mas'ala in Aqidah, famous to those who have studied advanced Aqidah. That's the mas'ala of fana'un nar. Fana'un nar is a mas'ala that is related to whether the hellfire will come to an end or not. With regards to Jannah, it will be there forever. ما في مشكلة. But with regards to the hellfire, scholars have differed a little bit. Some, very few scholars, very few, handful of them suggest that the Jahannam might come to an end and the adhab will finally end for the kuffar. While the nusus, the texts, they all suggest otherwise. They suggest that the Jahannam will never come to an end and there will be no permanent maut, no permanent death for the inhabitants of Jahannam. The death on the day of judgment, it will be brought in the shape of kabshayni amlahin, and in the shape of 2 goats or 2 sheep, and it will be brought in the shape, in the form of a goat or a sheep, and it will be killed. It will be slaughtered. That sheep will be slaughtered, and then the angels, they will call upon the people, inhabitants of Jannah and Jahannam, that khuludun fala maut. There is permanent life now, and there is no death. So all of these nusus are very clear that the Jahannam will remain forever, and the people who are the permanent inhabitants of Jahannam, they will burn forever. And this is an extra reason for us, ya ikhwan, to prepare for our hereafter and make sure that we stay away from kufr. Ya ikhwan, if you fall into kufr and you die upon kufr, wallahi al-azim, there is no bigger misery, there is no bigger shaqa than the fact that you are going to burn and be punished eternally, forever. Shay ajib. If you cannot wrap your mind around it, the fact this such a long time that you will be punished for if you fall into kufr. And have mercy on your kids, and have mercy on your grandchildren and your parents, and take them away from kufr if they're falling into it, or ensure that they stay away from kufr and they do not become, they're not exposed to it just for the sake of dunya. They're not exposed to it. Prepare them for their akhirah. Train your children, teach them the correct aqidah, teach them what is wrong so that they stay away from it. So there, we must work a lot. Just imagine your child, just because of your negligence, burns in hellfire forever. It's incomprehensible, wallah. So just contemplating and reflecting on the fact that a kafir will burn in hellfire forever is enough for us to avoid taking any risks with our akhirah. Avoid taking any risks with our akhirah. Add to that, eternal punishment. Add to that the gravity and intensity of the punishment. The fire being extremely hot, the types of punishment that there are in Jahannam. So it's an absolute misery. So our first priority in our life, for ourselves and for our families and communities and those around us, is to save ourselves from Jahannam. Save ourselves from Jahannam. Wallahi, shay mudhil, mudhish. So this is something, because of our ghafla in this life of the dunya, we tend to forget about it. We tend to forget about it because we are too much into our dunya. But on the day of judgment, when the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be judging amongst us, and he will be issuing the decrees where someone is, when one is heading to Jannah, who is heading to Jahannam, that is when we will actually be realizing it with the real fear, or with the fear that we are supposed to have, with the terror that we are supposed to have in our hearts with regards to Jahannam. And that is what Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhan nasu اتقوا ربكم إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. Look at this visualization of the day of judgment. Allah says, fear Allah, اتقوا ربكم. Oh people, fear Allah. You want to play around with philosophy, you want to play around with different concepts, you want to be skeptical about God. Fear Allah, fear Allah. This is even a khitab, this is addressed even to the kuffar. They just leave this playing around and with knowledge and with words and with philosophy, and you're skeptical about Islam, you're skeptical about religion, etc. Leave this aside for a moment. Just think about the following. اتقوا ربكم, fear your Lord. إن زلزلة الساعة شيء عظيم. The earthquake of the hour is something that is immense, massive. يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت. A nursing mother, while she is nursing her child, she will forget the child. And this is one of the moments in which she is the most emotionally attached to her child, and she will forget the child. وَتَضَعُ كُلُّ ذَاتِ حَمْلٍ حَمْلَهَا. A pregnant woman would deliver the baby out of such fear. When there is extreme fear, she would, spontaneously, without having any power and control over herself, deliver the baby. وَتَرَى النَّاسَ سُكَارَى, and you will look at the people as if they are, intoxicated. They have consumed something that has caused them to become in this state, in a drunken state, and intoxicated. وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى, they will be looking like this while they are in reality they are not intoxicated at this time. وَلَكِنَّ عَذَابَ اللَّهِ شَدِيدٌ. Imagine that such will be the fear of that adhab, that the people will look as if they are drunk. They are drunk. And that is, had it been in the dunya, perhaps most of us would have passed out. But because it's Yawm al-Qiyamah, there is no passing out. There is no, in the dunya we have, from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when there's extreme fear or extreme stress, insan, he tends to pass out and lose his consciousness, and in this way his body is able to relax. On the Day of Judgment there is no such exit. All of this fear will be translated into your in this apparent drunkenness and apparent intoxication, because there is no exit for you to pass out on the Day of Judgment. This is the moment, ya ikhwan, when the insan will realize the gravity and the enormity of the adhab that he might be subject to, and that at that time it will be too late. For us as Muslims and as slaves of Allah generally, not just Muslims, the slaves of Allah, for everyone, it is wajib, ya ikhwan, that we contemplate, we focus, we reflect on these ayats, so that we are able to develop that fear that would eventually come into our hearts on the Day of Judgment. We're able to develop that fear as much as we can in the dunya. The more the fear of Allah you develop, and the fear of his adhab, and the more the love for Allah you develop, the way you would have it in the akhirah, by contemplating over these verses and reflecting over them, the better your chances are for you to succeed, inshallah. So, and these ayats are mentioned to us. These are some events of the future mentioned to us, so that we contemplate over them, and we at least give it a try to translate this fear into our lives, and bring it into our lives, and experience at least part of it by visualizing what is going to happen on the Day of Judgment. طيب نقف هنا الآن بارك الله فيكم ونكمل بعد الصلاة. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We'll complete after الصلاة. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, فالحمد لله, we are to some extent done with فاء السببية. Now inshallah بإذن الله تعالى we will comment on واو المعية, فاء السببية, the fa that comes in between the sabab and its consequence. واو المعية, ما هي واو المعية؟ طيب, واو المعية بارك الله فيكم. I don't want to erase all of that which we have written here. Why? Because واو المعية, this is key in واو المعية as well. So I'll just erase some of what we have annotated. So that it's not confusing to look at the screen, inshallah. طيب, نأتي الآن بارك الله فيكم إلى واو المعية. واو المعية, looking at it and listening or hearing its name, what comes to the mind by saying معية? What does معية suggest? What comes to your mind, ya ikhwan? When you hear the word معية, واو المعية, معية.
Like togetherness.
أحسنت, it's related to مع, togetherness. Very good, ممتاز جدا, بارك الله فيك. إذن واو المعية is the واو that actually means مع. Now it will become clear inshallah with the example. مع is not used with فعل. With فعل you use واو المعية. مع you use it with nouns, just like the word with. You use it with nouns in English. I am with fulan. I ate apple with milk, مثلا. With nouns. What about the أفعال? With أفعال you use واو المعية. You can use مع, but after مع you will have to use أن. مع أن كذا. لكن واو المعية directly you use واو and then the فعل. Now here let's look at the example. لا تأكل السمكة وتشرب اللبن. وتشرب اللبن. طيب what does the sentence mean يا إخوان؟ لا تأكل السمكة وتشرب اللبن.
Do not eat fish while drinking milk, or with milk.
With or along with drinking milk, you can say. That's better. Because while will be the واو الحالية, حال that's different. Along with drinking milk. أحسنتم. So do not eat fish along with drinking milk. ممتاز. How did we know this? Because the fi'l after the waw was mansub. When we saw it as mansub, we recognize that this waw actually is waw al-ma'iyya. It actually means ma'a. And hence the speaker wants to tell us not to eat fish along with drinking milk. Now, what if I change the sentence and say لا تأكل السمكة, and I say وتشرب باللبن. That's number one. And what if I say وتشرب اللبن? طيب, what will be the meaning if I say لا تأكل السمكة وتشرب اللبن? لا تأكل تشرب. Remember, لا تأكل لا تشرب or تشرب with, and then the kasra is here because we couldn't put the sukun. So that will make things a little bit clear for you. لا تأكل وتشرب. No.
So this is nahi in both cases, like
ممتاز جدا. ممتاز. Do not eat fish and do not drink laban. ممتاز. That's nahi for both of them. So the first one, the example that we have in the text, that is لا تأكل السمكة وتشرب اللبن, there is a prohibition from combining fish with milk. Second one that we mentioned here below, that is وتشرب اللبن, it's a prohibition from both, for from eating fish and from drinking milk. Now if I say لا تأكل السمكة وتشرب اللبن, what will be the meaning then?
So this would mean that do not eat fish but drink milk.
أحسنت. وتشرب اللبن يعني drink milk, you can drink milk, ما في مشكلة, بس لا تأكلي السمكة. So لا تأكل that was nahi. وتشرب اللبن, this تشرب here will mean يعني it is as if you're telling him that you can drink milk, ما في مشكلة. أحسنت. That أخي أويس, it will not be translated into while, because the واو الحالية must come along with أنت, يعني وأنت تشرب اللبن. يعني it must, the word after it must be first, it must be a noun. That inshallah you will study that in Alfiyat ibn Malik inshallah. That واو الحالية, it must be accompanied with يعني أنت in most cases, and it's very shadh or it's very قليل that it can be used directly with a fi'l. So you have to say وأنت تشرب اللبن. That then it will be translated into while you are drinking milk. واضح يا إخوان؟ طيب الآن نأتي الآن واو المعية. This is the story of واو المعية. لا تأكل السمكة وتشرب اللبن. واو المعية means مع. It simply يعني simply يعني you can translate it into مع, and it causes the fi'l after it to become mansooba, as long as it is preceded by nafi or talab. By nafi or talab. And nafi means negation, general. Talab is the 8 things that we mentioned here. Murwan, however, was al-wa'id, al-habdi, mutamanna, arju. These are the 8 things. So as long as that is the case, then waw al-ma'iyya will cause nasb in the fi'l. To benefit, just let's first just take the examples that I mentioned here in the second and the last line. it says فإن كان في الجملة إثبات فقط, if there is no نفي and there is no طلب in the جملة, there is only affirmation, إثبات, لا تنصبان الفعل, they do not cause the فعل to become منصوب. Hence نحو أحضر الدرس فأتعلم الفقه, I attend the dars so that and I learn and acquire fiqh. وآكل اللحم وأشرب اللبن, آكل اللحم وأشرب اللبن. Now, despite the wow here being, he is suggesting that the drinking of laban takes place along with the eating of lahm, of meat. However, the wow did not cause the fi'l after it to become mansoob. So if I ask you the question, why did not the wow al-ma'iyya here, or the wow generally speaking, why didn't it cause the ashrabu to become mansoob? What will your answer be, ya ikhwan?
There is no nafi or talab.
There is no nafi or talab before the wow. Hence, the wow al-ma'iyya does not function with its nasb. It does not apply the nasb. So in order for fa al-sababiyya and wow al-ma'iyya to function, it must be preceded by nafi or talab. In order to further consolidate our understanding of wow al-ma'iyya and fa al-sababiyya, let us just have a quick look into some of the examples mentioned by Sheikh Khalid al-Azhari in التطبيق النحوي. So then move on to the other PDF. Just 1 second. I'll have to stop sharing for a second and move on to النحو التطبيقي. طيب لحظة فين واو المعية. طيب جاء هنا واو المعية, and then we will have the exercises on page 162 as well. لحظة. نعم, واو المعية. طيب ماذا قال الشيخ خالد الأزهري؟ قال هي حرف عطف بمعنى مع. It's a حرف عطف and it means مع. واو المعية, it means مع. فتفيد المصاحبة, so it indicates, suggests that something is being done along with another thing. طيب أي أن حصول ما قبلها وما بعدها في وقت واحد. What is before it and after it, they are in the same, being done in the same at the same time. طيب إذا قال هنا لا آكل وأتكلم. First example that Sheikh Khalid mentions is لا آكل وأتكلم. How will you first of all translate the sentence? بارك الله فيكم. لا آكل وأتكلم.
لا آكل, don't drink and don't talk.
He's not saying don't. He's telling something about himself. He's saying,
I don't drink.
Yes, I don't eat
and talk at the same time.
Ahsant, and likewise, our brother always said, I don't eat and speak at the same time, and I don't combine eating with speaking. لا آكل مع أن أتكلم. I don't eat along with, just like brother always had put it a while ago, along with speaking. I don't eat along with speaking or doing it that at the same time. Mumtaz. So did the waw al-ma'iyya function here? Did it cause nasb in the fi'l after it?
Yes, it should have, yeah.
Okay, and what is the alam of nasb in the fi'l after it?
Is fatha.
Fatha, mumtaz, khalas. Right. The next question is, why did waw al-ma'iyya function here? We said that there are some shurut for it to function. It must be preceded by something. What has it been preceded by in this particular sentence that it functioned?
Yes, so there is denial, nafi of
nafi, negation. There is negation, nafi. ممتاز, أحسنتم, بارك الله فيك. طيب, إذن قال هنا طيب, جاء بأمثلة أخرى. Okay, now he says ولما يعلم الله الذين جاهدوا منكم ويعلم الصابرين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة. This ayah, the starting of this ayah يا أخي أبا بكر. أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا نعم أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة. Did you think يعني that you will enter Jannah and Allah has not. Let me just I'll let you guys translate this. وَلَمَّا يَعْلَمِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا مِنكُمْ. See, we learned jawazim. I think we've been through. There was just a quick go through to some of the jawazim. If you remember, in the mabhath related to huruf, we learned lam and lamma. Ya'lam here is majzoom. Let me just tell you beforehand. Ya'lam is majzoom. It was supposed to have a sukoon, but it has a kasra because the next letter, or the first letter in the next word is a sakin. So it was supposed to, we were forced to give it a harakah. So we, instead of saying ya'lam, we said ya'lami. So that we have to give harakah so that we are able to pronounce the next word as it starts with the sakin. طيب. وَلَمَّا يَعْلَمِ اللَّهُ. طيب. What caused, this is a side question. We haven't yet come to the waw al-ma'iyah. First of all, what caused the ya'lam to become majzoom?
Because of the lamma.
Lamma, mumtaz. What is the difference between lam and lamma? Lam means did not. And lamma meant did not yet. ممتاز أحسنت. يعني ولما يعلم الله الذين جاهدوا منكم, أي Allah hasn't yet known, and he hasn't yet seen, witnessed those who strived from amongst you, who performed jihad from amongst you. وَيَعْلَمَ الصَّابِرِينَ. وَيَعْلَمَ الصَّابِرِينَ. So how will you translate this sentence? Allah hasn't yet known the people who have performed jihad from amongst you. And then the next part, how will you translate it?
Those who have strived from you and being patient at the same time, being patient.
Or at the same time, Allah hasn't yet, Allah hasn't known the ones who have strived along with knowing the sabirin. Along with knowing the sabirin. وَيَعْلَمَ الصَّابِرِينَ. وَلَمَّا both things are supposed to happen together. So this hasn't happened together. Allah hasn't yet known the people who have strived from amongst you, while also at the same time, along with knowing the sabirin. So both of them, the sabr and jihad, should be showcased and demonstrated from the Muslims at the same time. طيب. How did you know that there is waw al-ma'iyah here, and it actually means along with, and it happening at the same time? What caused you to think that this is waw al-ma'iyah?
Because of the ya'lam being mansoob.
ممتاز. Because ya'lam being mansoob. ممتاز. طيب. Waw al-ma'iyah is functioning here. There is a shart for it to function, that it should be preceded by nafi or talab. So what is it being preceded by here? And where is it, the ayah?
It's lamma.
Lamma, ahsant. So what is it? Is it nafi or talab, or any one type of talab? What is it?
I think it's nafi.
It's nafi, absolutely. Lamma is nafi here, and خلاص, that's it. طيب ممتاز. ثم ذكر هنا مثالا آخر قال لا آمرك بالمعروف وأعرض عنه. طبعا أعرض يعرض means to turn away from something. So لا آمرك بالمعروف, I will not command you, or you translate it. طيب, you guys translate it. ما معنى لا آمرك بالمعروف وأعرض عنه?
I will not command you to do something good and turn away from it at the same time.
And then at the same time, turn away from it. يعني not doing that good thing and commanding others only. So لا أمرك بالمعروف وأعرض عنه. So where did you get this same time or this element of معية? Where did you recognize it that it exists in this sentence?
The أعرض المنصوب form.
The منصوب form of أعرض. ممتاز جدا. طيب. We said that it should be preceded by something. What is it being preceded by here?
Yeah, النفي.
نفي. And where is the نفي?
لا نفي.
لا. أحسنتم. بارك الله فيكم. طيب. الآن نأتي بارك الله فيكم. Because problem is the Sheikh has put the heading, so maybe if I just hide them and you all close your eyes for a moment so that you don't know what it is. طيب يلا بسم الله. And let's mix it up a little bit. So first we'll start with this one. فقالوا يا ليتنا نرد ولا نكذب بآيات ربنا. They said, the kuffar, they said that we wish that we are returned back to earth. نرد, we are returned. We are returned. ولا نكذب بآيات ربنا. طبعا نكذب we know means belying and denying. So how will you translate this part? We wish that we are returned. Next, after this, ولا نكذب بآيات ربنا, how would you put it in the translation?
And we will not deny the signs or the ayat of Rabb.
They are wishing for two things. They're wishing to be returned, and at the same time, they're wishing that, along with being returned, they do not deny the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they're wishing that this returning does not happen alone. It happens along with the absence of denying and belying the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. طيب ممتاز جدا. Question. How do you know that this is واو المعية?
There is al-amr or there is التمني.
لسه first there is a فعل, there is منصوب, which tells us that the واو before it is واو المعية. And then I'm going to ask you, why did the واو المعية function here? And then you will tell me there was this because there is تمني. Where is the تمني بارك الله فيك?
ليتنا.
يا ليتنا. ممتاز. طيب نأتي الآن إلى المثال الأعلى. هنا قال ساعدني وأساعدك لنتفوق. ساعدني, it says saying help me وأساعدك لنتفوق. نتفوق means so that we both progress and we both advance. It's from فوق to go up, to progress, to climb up. Now, so what is going on here? Where is the واو المعية? Or how will you first translate the sentence?
So help me, at the same time I will help you, so we go up together, we succeed together.
أحسنت بارك الله فيك. طيب you recognize that this is واو المعية because of what?
Because of أساعد being a mansub.
ممتاز. And why? How is the واو functioning here? What is it being preceded by such that it is causing nasb in the fi'l after it?
It's the amr.
It's أمر. ممتاز جدا. ساعدني. طيب. قال هنا, this is a very eloquent مثال here, and this is exactly akin to what we read before. لا أمرك بالمعروف وأعرض عنه. It's the same thing, but it's presented very eloquently by the Sha'ir. He says لا تنهى عن خلق وتأتي مثله عار عليك إذا فعلت عظيم. The first part I won't translate it. The second part, عار عليك, it is something that is considered a shame for you. It's an aib, it's a defect, a flaw in you that you prohibit someone from a particular manner and etiquette, and you say this is bad manners, bad etiquettes, and then you do it yourself. عار عليك, it's a shame, it's a defect, a flaw in you. إذا فعلت عظيم. And if you do so, يعني it's a, يعني very, يعني it's an action that is يعني enormous in its يعني you can say in its despicability, or you can say يعني in its blameworthiness يعني. طيب لا تنهى عن خلق وتأتي مثله. ترجموا. First of all, translate this sentence. لا تنهى عن خلق وتأتي مثله.
So do not forbid from a deed and then come with something like it. I mean, like in Tati, I mean, doing like acting something like it.
Do not forbid someone from an action or from a particular etiquette, while at the same time you do it yourself. وتأتي مثله, do something similar to it. عار عليك فعلت عظيم. طيب واو المعية, we know that it's واو المعية because تأتي is منصوبة. Question is, why did the واو المعية function? What has it been preceded by?
an-Nahw.
النهي. طيب أين النهي؟
لا an-Nahw.
لا الناهية. لا تنهى. أحسنت, فتح الله عليك. طيب another إن شاء الله closure of eyes will be helpful for or just let me just pause the sharing until I clean this up. I'm not sure if you are still able to view the screen. I hope not. Pause sharing is supposed to cause the screen to go black, but I'm not sure if it is. So الآن I've resumed the sharing and نعم يلا. طيب الآن عندنا مجموعة من الأمثلة. We'll start first with the following. هلا أديت واجبك ويشكرك أبوك. It didn't go black. Oh, very sad. Allah understand. Then there is no use of this pause sharing. I don't know, pause sharing then perhaps means that you will not be updated with what I'm doing, the latest that I'm doing. Perhaps that's what it means.
Actually, sorry, it didn't go black, but it was it froze, so we did not see when you were covering the title. So it froze in the last screen.
Okay, that's what happens. I thought pause means it will go black. It only freezes. That's it. No, that's not very impressive. Allah understand. طيب المهم إن شاء الله, I hope that you haven't seen what was written in the titles here. طيب نبدأ الآن بهذا المثال. هلا أديت واجبك ويشكرك أبوك. استغفر الله, really messing up the حركات. طيب ويشكرك أبوك. هلا أديت واجبك. What is the translation of this? You have to intensify.
Yeah. So halla we said is had intensive request. So it's like requesting, have you finished your obligation, or have you a data? Have you paid your obligation, or have you something like that?
Or just don't make it into a question. Try to avoid making it into a question. and say هلا أديت واجبك why didn't you or do your wajib. Do your wajib right now. Why didn't you do the wajib? It's sort of like that. And make it into a rhetorical question maximum and try to intensify. I'm really not sure how exactly to translate this into English. هلا this I need to look into how they have translated it. Before maybe we can sort of benefit from a website that I perhaps shared with you previously. It's called rasaif.com. rasaif.com. And rasaif.com has a number of translations and a number of books, classical works in Arabic that have been translated into English, and it enables us to browse through these different translations by either entering an Arabic text or an English text in order to look how it has been translated or how an English word has been used in Arabic. So both, it works both ways. So it will be great if someone right now, if they can just log on to or just go into rasif.com, that I've just shared the link in the chats, and just if they can just look up halla, يعني how it has been translated in the, you know, by the best يعني translations. طيب هلا أديت واجبك، يعني why don't you يعني I'm also being forced to translate it into it as a question. So يعني why don't you do your يعني obligation, fulfill it at the same time, and at the same time, and your father will be thankful to you for doing that. طيب, so question is, why did the واو المعية function here? And what was it being preceded by such that it caused the يشكر to become منصوب, or يشكر to become يشكر?
Yeah, so that's حظ.
أحسن, there's حظ. Okay, ممتاز. ممتاز. طيب, now this is very key, what is being mentioned here. ألا تزورنا ونكرمك. ألا تزورنا ونكرمك. And this is another one of the asalib of what we mentioned before, ألا. In fact, ألا is more often used than لو. لو is not very often used. ألا is more often used for that particular word that I'm looking for. المهم, ألا تزورنا ونكرمك. First of all, what's the translation of ألا تزورنا ونكرمك?
Why don't you visit us so that we honor you?
And we honor you at the same time. ممتاز. What نكرمة, طبعا we know it has been منصوب by the واو المعية. What was واو المعية preceded by such that it made نكرمة منصوبة?
That's the عرض, polite request.
عرض, ممتاز, polite request. And ألا, remember يا أخوان, I mentioned a while ago that لو is the most important. ألا is more often used for the polite request for عرض than لو. So write it down that ألا is the word that should come to mind whenever عرض is mentioned. Whenever عرض is mentioned, ألا is the word that should more often come to your mind. Just like we, you know, made some sort of associations, like with the ترجي we said لعل, with the تمني you said ليت, with أمر مثلا you can say افعل, with نهي you can say لا تفعل, with the دعاء you can say يعني الله يعني ارزقني يا رب, تمنى وسل. سؤال is easy, استفهام is easy. With عرض use ألا, with تحضيض use هلا, and with تمني ترجي already mentioned later and لعل. طيب ممتاز. ألا تزورنا ونكرمك. So there is this نفي or طلب. Is this نفي or طلب, this polite request? What is it? Is it نفي or is it طلب?
طلب.
طلب. ممتاز ممتاز. طيب, نأتي الآن إلى اللهم اغفر لي وتوسع علي في الرزق. اللهم اغفر لي وتوسع علي في الرزق. توسع means يا إخوان يعني to expand. Expand يعني expand my risk and make it more vast and make it يعني greater. يعني طيب, where what is the translation of this sentence first of all? What is the translation of the sentence? اللهم اغفر لي وتوسع علي في رزقي.
So, oh Allah, forgive me and increase, or expand for me my risk.
أحسنت, and expand for me my risk. And at the same time, and along with forgiving me, expand for me my risk. طيب, where did the نصب happen? What's the علامة of نصب in the فعل after واو المعية?
That's the فتحة on توسع.
أحسنت. And what was the واو المعية preceded by such that it functioned and caused the نصب?
This is دعاء.
دعاء. أحسنت, بارك الله فيك. أحسنت, دعاء. أحسنت يا أخي أويس. طيب, ثم finally we have ألم أكو جاركم ويكون بيني وبينكم المودة والإخاء. ألم أكو جاركم ويكون بيني. ألم أكو, wasn't I your neighbor? While along with that there was along with me being your neighbor there was mawadda, extreme love and brotherhood between us. So وَيَكُونَ, this is where the waw al-ma'iyya functioned and caused yakuna to become mansub. Let me just say the translation again. Wasn't I your neighbor, along with there being between me and between you extreme love and brotherhood? What enabled the waw al-ma'iyya to function here? What enabled the waw al-ma'iyya here? استفهام. أحسنت. ألم أكو, wasn't I همزة هذه همزة الاستفهام يعني همزة in ألم this means هل يعني هل لم أكو جاركم, wasn't I your neighbor and there was amongst us مودة and إخاء. So this is the استفهام that enabled the واو المعية to cause نصب. أحسنت. طيب, did anyone look into هلا and its meaning يا إخوان? It's translation. طيب, لا بأس إذا لم يكن أحد منكم قد نظر في هلا, ما في إشكال إن شاء الله بعد الدرس. طيب, نأتي الآن إلى أو إن شاء الله we'll end the درس with أو. طيب, إذن قال أو تكون ناصبة. أو طبعا generally it means what's the meaning of أو generally speaking? معنى أو يا إخوان؟ or. أحسنت, بارك الله. or. طيب, تكون ناصبة, it will cause نصب إذا أتت بمعنى, if it comes in the meaning of, first of all, the first option is إلا. If it gives the meaning of إلا, or if it gives the meaning of حتى, so that it does in special contexts. يعني it becomes clear from the context whether it means إلا or حتى or it's a regular or. طيب, now if you examine the following example, it will inshallah become clear. قال لأقاتلن العدو الكافر أو يسلما. لأقاتلن العدو الكافر, I will certainly surely fight the kafir enemy. أو يسلما. Now here, or he becomes Muslim. يعني or he becomes Muslim here means except if he becomes Muslim. يعني I will keep fighting him except if he becomes Muslim. Except if he becomes Muslim. طيب. So this is where أو is being used in the meaning of إلا, and hence it caused nasb here. It caused the nasb in the fi'al mudari after it. طيب, I will inshallah also mention to you how to differentiate between إلا and حتى. قال أو بمعنى حتى which means until. طبعا إلا means except, right? And حتى means until. قال نحو أقرأ القرآن أو أتعبا. What is the meaning of this, يا إخوان? How will you translate the sentence?
I will recite Quran until I get tired.
أحسنت. أقرأ القرآن حتى أتعب أو أتعب, هكذا. طيب, ممتاز جدا. طيب, now you can also say that I could have used until in the first sentence. يعني لأقاتلن العدو الكافر حتى يسلم. I will keep fighting until he becomes Muslim, except if he becomes Muslim. يعني there is a bit of confusion. يعني how can I determine whether it is being used in the meaning of إلا or it's being used in the meaning of hatta. So this they mention with regards to the difference between the two, that illa is the meaning of aw when it is and at times the meaning, and when will you say that illa, this the meaning of aw here was illa? They say when the change occurs suddenly. Yani a person becoming a kafir person becoming Muslim, it's a sudden change. It's not like it's not gradual. Yani it's sudden in the sense that you're either a kafir or a Muslim. So you cannot be like somewhere in the middle, right? So the change occurs suddenly. Hatta is said to be the meaning of aw in places where something occurs gradually. أقرأ القرآن أو أتعب. Now ta'ab, which is tiredness, that occurs gradually. It's not like sudden. Like suddenly I'm tired. And just before one word I was fine. After one word I'm tired. That's not how it happens. So they say that you will say the meaning of aw is hatta when something occurs gradually. The meaning of aw is illa when it is sudden. So this is how you differentiate between the two. Otherwise, if you look at it, sometimes you might feel that I could have used here until as well. But this is how they put the dabit in Nahw to differentiate when to say that aw was in the meaning of illa and when it was in the meaning of hatta. وقال أخيرا وهذه الخمس تنصب الفعل المضارع بأن مضمرة وجوبا. These cause the فعل المضارع to become منصوب using with the wasita of an, which is مضمرة, hidden, and it is a must to hide it. You cannot show it. So you cannot say لأقاتلن العدو الكافر أو أن يسلم أقرأ القرآن أو أن أتعب. لا، كل هذه ما تصلح. All of these five السببية والمعية حتى and what else do we have? لام الجحود. All of these they are used with أن مضمرة وجوبا. واضح يا إخوان? Is that clear inshallah? With regards to the Nawaصib? Any questions with regards to Nawaصib? Any questions يا إخوان with regards to the Nawaصib? طيب إذن الجوازم إن شاء الله نبدأ بها في الدرس القادم غدا بإذن الله تعالى. نقف هنا، نكتفي بهذا القدر، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. If you all find time, please do listen to the durus of Sheikh Saleh Al-Usaimi. I will be sharing with you the link shortly بإذن الله تعالى. Very beneficial. In your free time, just play it around you, listen to it. Maybe you will learn few things and few words in Arabic also. Inshallah, you will gain. بإذن الله تعالى. وفقكم الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.